Ice cream. Not the purpose of this video. It's time for another street photography video. Mostly because, got a mouth of raisin there. I've done two now, where I set the aperture priority, the mode, focus it there, focus on that. I set it to shutter priority with auto ISO. And it raised some questions, mostly from my friend Mark, but also some comments in the previous videos. Why are you shooting with shutter priority? Now, having watched Gary Goff's video, and I took the lead from that, it was very much a case of set it on this, do this, auto ISO, blah, blah, blah. And it seemed to work. I was getting some crystal clear shots, some really nice shots. But you know, shutter priority does not give you the control over depth of field, because the camera just sets the f-stop. And what do I mean by depth of field? Let's say I was taking a picture of the ice cream and in the background was a cup of coffee. If I shoot in shutter priority and focus on the ice cream, then whatever the camera sets for the f-stop will disregard what's in the background. It could well be that it will choose a low f-stop, 3.5, which is the lowest on that lens, in which case the cup of coffee would be blurred, but I can't control that. Now in aperture priority, I can control it. So let's do a little experiment here. If I place the ice cream in the foreground and I place the coffee in the background, my depth of field is the distance between me, the object I want to take, and anything in the background. So if I take a couple of shots, I'll go into aperture priority. So the first shot I'll take, I've got the camera set at, I would say about 31mm. Focusing on the ice cream, it's at f4. That gives me that shot. I'm now going to push the f-stop to as wide open as I can. And what that should do is make the coffee cup focused. So I'm controlling depth of field by way of aperture priority. So what I thought I would do is, I'm here at Dover on the marina seafront. You know, I said about eye contact. I'm actually going to put the sunnies on. I am looking at you, I promise. I'm going to take a stroll. The sun is coming from behind me, so as I walk down Dover Promenade, and it looks like this, it's really quite pleasant. Any people I take shots of, the sun will be on their faces, and that should make for some really nice shots. So I'll finish my ice cream and coffee, and then we'll get cracking.
5 minutes later.
There's lots of people around, which is always a good thing. I've got the wind behind me, but I've got the sun behind me, but I've got the wind blowing. Anyway, the thing I forgot to mention is focal length. So obviously I will try and keep the aperture as low as possible, which at 18mm on this lens is 3.5. But as I focus in and extend, misses, the minimum f-stop would be 5.6, but still enough to give me a blurred background. So obviously my focal length affects the subject, and my subject is, you know, the thing that I'm going to be focusing on, depending on how far away it is. So if I've got this scene where we've got a couple of nuns sitting on the bench, if I was to take a shot, which I'm going to now, 70mm I'll set it to. That's the shot at 70mm. Push it right to 140 because the lens lets me. So that's me at 140 holding the camera, taking the shot. It depends how close you are in terms of how much you zoom in to get your focal length. But you can still push the aperture as wide open as possible and get the background blurred. So what I'll do think I might just perch myself here and wait for some people to walk by, take some pictures, you'll see them, and then I'll walk on. So a couple of shots there, all in aperture priority. As I adjusted the focal length, zooming in and out, then the camera automatically adjusted the f-stop, but it wouldn't push it beyond 5.6, which is the maximum at 140, or the lowest at 140mm that I can get. But actually there weren't a lot of people walking around, so I'm going to walk a little further down here. Remember, we can take pictures in a public environment. We just don't want to push the boundaries of etiquette, you know, going up into someone's face. I would like to take a picture. You can, of course, ask someone. You see a scene, you think, oh, that would be a great picture. Just go and ask, you know, can I take a picture of you? And that'll work. So down here, we've got a little coffee thing, and that might make for an interesting couple of photographs. In fact, let's cross here. The Winston Suite. So they've done all of this up, this colonnade, what do you call it? They're doing them all up, making it look lovely. So what shall I do? I want some of this scene, you know, people having a coffee, people buying things, interaction between people. So I think I'll find myself a convenient spot, maybe sit on this wall and watch the world go by for 10 minutes. See, there's lots happening at this end. I'm bound to get some shots. So let's do that. Let's sit here and take a couple of pics. Oh, that's low down. Take a couple of pics. This feels like the Med or somewhere, you know, south of France. Look at this. Blue skies, sea, people. It's good to be alive, and it's good to be around people, especially when they're your subject for your compositions. Right, let's take a few shots, all in aperture priority. Remember, I've changed the ISO. When I was doing shutter priority, I set the ISO to auto. So because I wanted as much light as possible. We are on a sunny day. I don't expect, if I set the ISO to 100, which is the lowest I can get on this camera, and I force my aperture to be as wide open as possible, I'm going to get enough light. But the thing that will adjust, because this is a semi-automatic mode, will be the speed of the shutter. And I might get as low as 1/20th of a second, which is going to give me a blurry image. But I suspect, and I think what I'll do when I overlay the images, just up on the top corner here, for each image, I'll put the settings, okay? Because I'm pushing my focal length as I take my pictures. I don't have a nifty 50. You know, if it was a nifty 50, it's 50mm, no questions asked. However, the type of photography that I like to zoom in. I like to get images where I've just got a head and shoulders. If I've got a nifty 50, I've got the full body crop, haven't I? Right, enough jabber. Let me take a few shots and we will, what's the word? We will come back after these images. Sounds like an advert, doesn't it? See you after the break. Well, nothing award-winning there. However, aperture set. Yeah, there's our Sunday afternoon destroyed by youth who like to shout. Yeah, nothing award-winning there, but I did set the aperture to the lowest it would go. So in most cases, because of my focal length, it was 5.6, but it would drop below. But no speed less than 1/60th other than one shot. You're getting me in the light here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to walk down there, and if I get any more shots, then I will display a little gallery. So what have I learned from this? You know what, I kind of still like shooting in shutter priority, only because I really don't feel I need to think about anything. 1/25th of a second, auto ISO, just let the camera do everything else. This way I've been doing it with aperture priority. I'm trying to concentrate with it, the youth shouting there. I'm not sure what their issue is. Yeah, so all I've done, I've fixed the ISO at 100. Ice cream van chaos all around me. I fixed the ISO at 100. I've set the aperture to the lowest it will go, and then as I adjust the lens, it drops. So if I took it at 18mm, I'd get 3.5. If I take a shot at 140, adjusting my focal length, I get 5.6. So anything in between there, the camera's doing it. And the only thing that the camera's doing that I don't have to think about is the speed. And I've got vibration reduction, I can never say that, vibration reduction set. So all in all, I'm going to stick with shutter priority for any street photography. And I think it's, what is it? There's a phrase, isn't there? Horses for courses. It sounds rude. But whatever works for you, go with it, you know, just do it. So I'll leave you with the gallery. There are a few people here. I'm going to walk back to my car. Thanks for watching, bearing with another little adventure in street photography. Perhaps you got something out of that. Perhaps you didn't. Who knows? Drop me a comment, let me know. And I'll see you in another video. Bye for now.